that we get these into our notebook. So I would go to a clean page, and at the very top, I'd label this lines. And this is going to be Unit 16, Lesson 1, so 16-1. And here are our notes for today. These are 3 types of lines, and I usually use these in the classroom just to kind of show you a visual. So the first kind of line is going to be parallel lines. I like to think of parallel. I'm going to write the word really big so that you can see my trick. So parallel. I like to look at the 2 L's, so right here. So these 2 L's are next to each other, and they are never going to touch, ever, ever, ever. No matter how big they get, no matter how big those lines are, they will never, ever touch. So parallel lines are 2 lines, 1, 2, just like you have 2 L's in that word, and they will never touch, okay? So just like here, we've got arrows on those because lines go on forever and ever and ever. No matter how far these lines go, they will never touch each other, okay? So never intersect is the correct word. Our next one is going to be intersecting lines. So intersecting is when they cross, when they touch each other. All right, so again, we've got those 2 arrows so that these lines are going on forever and ever and ever and ever. So basically what I like to think about is if I have 2 lines, let's say these are my lines. Right now they're not intersecting, they're not touching. So some of you might say, oh, these are parallel lines. But that's not true because eventually as these lines continue, what's going to happen? They're going to intersect. So eventually, over time, they could intersect. So it's important to always pay attention to the arrows. The arrows means they are lines, they are continuous, they will eventually touch each other. So intersecting, they pass through at the same point, okay? Perpendicular lines, this is confusing because they are all kind of like similar in some way. They're all lines, and then we have parallel and perpendicular. So parallel and perpendicular are basically just the opposite. These are lines that form a right angle. So these never, ever, ever touch. And then these are perfect up and down just like this, like a cross. So you have all right angles. Boop, 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 boop. Okay? All right, so hopefully you're writing these in your notebook. You can definitely look on your page, or you can just pause this page right now and copy those into your notebook. We're going to do a couple of examples. Okay, so it asks us to find 4 points. So we know what points are, so we're going to just go ahead and skip that because we're focused on lines today. And then it says name 4 lines. So it doesn't say what kind of lines, it just asks you to find 4 lines. So really anything here would work. And then name 2 pairs of parallel lines. Let's go ahead and focus on that. Parallel. Ooh, which one was that, Mrs. Jensen? I don't know. Well, it's got those 2 L's, so these are the ones that do not touch. So which ones do not touch? Let's go ahead and look over here. Let's see, this one is never, ever, ever going to touch this one. So we're going to need to go ahead and write those out. That's W and Y. So this is line W, Y, and then you're going to have to put the other line also. So W, Y. Will never touch line X, Z. Okay, so usually write and. So Y, W, Y, and X, Z will never touch. Okay, so then our next one asks us to find perpendicular lines. Oh, perpendicular, which one was that? These kind, okay, perpendicular. So we need to find something that looks just like this. All right, well, if I can draw a nice box, that's going to be my answer, right? So there's more than one answer, of course. So this is going to be what? What kind of line is this forming? And what kind of line is this forming? So what 2 lines are going to intersect right there? It's going to be YZ and YW. All right? So I hope you guys do great today. Make sure to look back in your book, look at your notes as you need to. All right?